hereby call this meeting of the Howell Township Council to order. Opening statement, please.
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided in the manner prescribed by law. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken. I'll begin with a roll call. Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Councilman Rubel?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Executive session resolution R25-265. Is there a need to go into executive session this evening? Mr. Gross? Motion to enter into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into exec.
Second?
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Councilman Rubel?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. A moment of individual prayer.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have some presentations.
We have Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Is Riley here?
Go now.
Yeah, we're going to meet Riley on the days.
2, 3, 4. Yep.
Proclamation of the governing body for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2025. Whereas each year in the United States, approximately 15,780 children and adolescents under the age of 18 will be diagnosed with cancer. Globally, it will be more than 300,000. And whereas every 3 minutes, somewhere in the world, a family hears the devastating words that their child has been diagnosed with cancer. And whereas childhood cancer is not just one disease, but is made up of a dozen types and countless subtypes of cancer. Childhood cancer spares no socioeconomic, ethnic, racial, or geographic class. And whereas pediatric cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in U.S. children under 15 years of age. And whereas although progress has been made in treating many types of childhood cancer, there remains much work to be done and research to be completed. Now, therefore, the governing body of the Township of Howell does hereby proclaim September 2025 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Howell Township in order to help raise awareness of pediatric cancer and the need to combat this devastating disease. Riley, this is for you, honey. Did you want to say
Hi, my name is Riley, and I am a childhood cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia at the age of 10 years old. I received chemotherapy treatment as well as almost 30 spinal taps over 2.5 years. I rang the bell on October 4th, 2023. Due to the high-dose steroids I received, I developed avascular necrosis in most joints of my body. The most severely affected was my right hip, which collapsed, requiring me to undergo a total hip replacement in March of 2024 at the age of 13. I have been in Girl Scouts since I was 5 years old. This past year, I decided I wanted to earn the second highest level award in Girl Scouts, which is the Silver Award. I chose spreading childhood cancer awareness in the community as my project, as I have learned firsthand the importance of community support while going through such a difficult journey. I was very fortunate to have our local heroes and members of our community support me on my journey. My project included working with the Howell Police Department and Copper Gear to make custom challenge coins, which I sold as a fundraiser to purchase items for the local childhood cancer foundations. I worked with the Howell Public School District to make an informational video to be added to the health curriculum for the K-8 schools. I also partnered with local media, including the Howell Patch, Asbury Park Press, Tap Into, News 12, and Shore News Network to promote my event. I also worked with 7 childhood cancer foundations and started a wish list drive in their honor. I worked with Talent and hosted a blood drive collecting 19 blood donations. I also worked with the National Marrow Donor Program to give out swab kits to potential bone marrow donors. I worked with Mayor Leggio and the Township Council to find ways to spread childhood cancer awareness in our town, including adding a banner to the front of the municipal building and displaying September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month on the new town signs. I was able to bring all aspects of my project together during a childhood cancer awareness event that I held on July 13th at Southern Fire Department. All 7 childhood cancer foundations were in attendance, sharing with the community what they do to support children battling cancer and their families. I had resources available on CHOP's research programs. National Marrow Donor swab kits were available. The public was able to drop off donations for the foundations, and we held a blood bank bus accepting blood donations. Overall, the event was very successful, but I could not have done it without the support of Mayor Leggio, the Howell Township Council, our local heroes, including the Howell Police Department, Southern Fire Department, and the Howell First Aid Squad, as well as the local foundations and members of our community that were in attendance. If our community would like to learn more about getting involved in supporting childhood cancer awareness, they can reach out to one of the many local childhood cancer foundations to volunteer or donate, set up a toy drive, host a blood drive, or display a gold ribbon at their home or business, just to name a few. Thank you so much. Thank you again for your time and support.
Still no hunger. Anne's running.
I am hungry.
Hunger Action Month, September 2025. Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of grave concern in the United States and the state of New Jersey, and whereas the Howell Township is committed to taking steps to raise awareness about the need to combat hunger, and whereas Howell Township is committed to working with Mercy Center to educate people about the role and importance of food pantries in addressing hunger, and to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues, and whereas more than 7,000 individuals in Monmouth County, including Howell Township, rely on food provided by Mercy Center annually, and whereas in fiscal year 2025, Mercy Center provided 1.8 million meals, reflecting 200,000 more meals than in fiscal year 2024, and 700,000 more meals than fiscal year 2023. And whereas 1 in every 6 people in Monmouth County received emergency assistance from food pantries, and whereas September is Hunger Action Month, providing an opportunity to bring awareness and attention and to encourage involvement in efforts to end hunger in our local communities. Now, therefore, the governing body of the Township of Howell does hereby proclaim September 2025 as Hunger Action Month in Howell Township and call this observance to the attention of its citizens.
Would you like to come up and say a few words?
Good evening. I'm Kara Grimes from Mercy Center. On behalf of Mercy Center and the clients that we serve, I'd just like to thank Mayor Leggio and the members of the council for recognizing September as Hunger Action Month. As you heard, in the last year alone, we welcomed 118,000 people through our humble food pantry based in Asbury Park, and we serve 23 out of 54 towns in Monmouth County, which is just demonstrates that the need is great. This proclamation brings much needed attention to the very real issue that so many of our neighbors face right here in our own backyard. And it also calls to action it also asks our community to get to gather to fight hunger. And so we thank you. Together, we will continue to provide meals and hope to our neighbors in need. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Mrs. Krista Riddle, Howell Township Alliance Coordinator, please come forward. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having me. Before I start with the National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month proclamation, I'd just like to take a moment of silence together to honor all the lives in our Howell community affected by the losses from suicide. I feel like this year this proclamation is particularly important. Whereas 49,316 Americans died by suicide, and an estimated 1.5 million Americans attempted suicide in 2023. And whereas the Howell community experienced 21 suicide deaths and 431 suicide attempts threats between January 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2025, according to Howell Police data. And whereas despite being preventable, suicide is the second leading cause of death among young people ages 10 to 24, and the 11th leading cause of death overall in the U.S. And whereas knowing the warning signs of suicide, being a non-judgmental listener for a person in need, and referring appropriate crisis and mental health support resources saves lives. And whereas the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline provides 24/7 talk or text support to those in need. And whereas the Howell Alliance remains committed to providing Howell community members with education, programs, and access to support resources for suicide prevention, mental health awareness, and stigma reduction. Now, therefore, the governing body of the Township of Howell does hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Howell Township and commend its observance to all citizens.
Thank you. And last presentation is for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month.
Whereas September has been designated as National Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas Turn the Town Teal is a campaign to create awareness of ovarian cancer and its symptoms, volunteers tie ribbons throughout town centers and hand out symptom cards, and whereas ovarian cancer is referred to as a silent disease, as the symptoms are often vague and subtle, there is no early detection test for ovarian cancer, which means it's critical that women become aware of the known symptoms. And whereas 1 in 67 women will develop ovarian cancer in their lifetime, 2/3 of those diagnosed will die from the disease. And whereas if detected in its early stages, the survival rate for ovarian cancer is 90 to 95%. And whereas increased public awareness of this disease, its risk factors, and its subtle symptoms may save lives, as women across New Jersey and their doctors learn to recognize the warning signs of ovarian cancer, which are often the only early indication of illness. And whereas more ovarian cancer research can help to develop reliable diagnostics, better therapy, and prevention strategies, thereby offering women in New Jersey the opportunity to win their battle for life against this most deadly of all gynecological cancers. Now therefore, the governing body of the Township of Howell does hereby proclaim September 2025 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in Howell Township and support the Turn the Towns Teal Awareness Campaign.
Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome.
On to acceptance of minutes from previous meetings. May I have a motion to the acceptance of minutes from August 12th, 2025?
Motion to accept minutes, August 12, 2025.
I'll second.
Councilman Nadell.
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes.
Councilman Rubel.
I just had one comment on the minutes to accept, if we could just pencil it in real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Page 6, fourth paragraph
Okay.
at the bottom. It was just a discussion about the CSLRs that we would revisit in an addendum, the wording of the distance between CSLRs being from external property line as opposed to frontage.
Okay, I will make that change. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fisher?
So yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you.
On to reports of township department officials. Mrs. Bennett?
Yes.
Anything to report?
No.
Mr. Gross?
Nothing.
Mrs. Festina?
Nothing, thank you.
On to hearing of citizens and public comments, consent agenda items, and general matters.
Each person shall first give their name and address to the clerk. The council should be addressed as a collective body and not as individual members. Each person shall have one turn to address the council, and comments shall not exceed a total of 5 minutes. Speakers shall be notified when their time has run, and no time extension shall be permitted.
All right, first up, Mr. Mark Chickatano. From
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Chickateno, 214 Bry Avenue in Howell Township. I just had a quick question about the part-time code enforcement officer position. I was wondering how many positions you were hiring for and when you might be conducting interviews for that position. That's all. Thank you.
Next up, Paula Samuel.
Good evening, Paula Samarel, 2 Driftwood Drive. First, I would like to thank our town council as well as our attorney for thinking outside the box and formulating Ordinance O-25-39, establishing rules for management of residential or commercial real property in our town. Rules that we were told by past town representatives were not feasible. This ordinance, along with Ordinance O-2533 regarding sober living residences in the long run, not only protects the rights of surrounding residents, but also protects the rights of those that occupy these residences. Speaking of rights, I would like to request that the town council and attorney review the ordinance O-25-20, amending Chapter 188 entitled Land Use. This ordinance is a fairly new adopted ordinance regarding the allowance of constructing an e-roof system in the town's 10-foot right-of-way. I have a couple questions. The phrase entitled land use. The word entitled means to give someone a legal right or a just claim to receive or do something. If we interpret this definition to mean a legal right to receive something, are we to understand that if an application for an e-roof system is requested, that the township is giving away town property for the explicit use to construct an e-roof system within the town's 10 feet right-of-way? It seems that way to me, especially since the applicant is now responsible for the maintenance of the property as well as acquiring insurance that this may be the case. if we interpret the definition to mean legal right to do something, are we to understand that if an application is made for an e-roof, that they are being given the legal right to do something, such as erecting an e-roof boundary system, and the town is changing the zoning use of the town's right-of-way, allowing private use now? If this is the case, then I would assume that anyone should be allowed to make an application to the town to erect or place whatever they want within the 10 feet right-of-way, a shed, a basketball hoop, a trellis, a fence. Otherwise, prohibiting these uses could possibly be seen as discrimination. It's one thing if it's for the benefit of everyone, like sidewalks, street lights, speed limit signs, stop signs, and school zone signs to be placed in the town's right-of-way, but to allow only specific private structures to be used for private use in a public area, this most certainly can be perceived as preferential treatment and perhaps even discriminatory. Basically, this ordinance takes away one person's right, the right to enjoy one's own surroundings, and gives it to someone else. I believe the suggestion by one of our townspeople to erect an e-roof system entirely around Howell would alleviate current and future issues with these private structures being placed adjacent to one's home. The beauty of the e-roof boundary system is to combine separate domains into one shared domain or community. All of these different e-roof systems seem counterproductive to me, to the people utilizing them, and adds another boundary, a boundary separating the people that do not practice this same cultural custom from those that do. I'm not saying I'm against the placement of e-roofs. I do understand that some people need this rabbinical allowance, and I've seen it firsthand when a neighbor was walking on a Saturday with several small children, and one of the boys refused to move. She couldn't pick him up, so I went to help, and being a grandma, I was able to coax him to walk down the street with me. Perhaps an ad hoc committee could be formed to come up with a viable solution before complaints are filed from either side. Oh, and by the way, can we get some speed limit signs on Sammy Drive? We're still waiting on a traffic study, and there's going to be a serious accident before one is completed. Thank you very much.
Thera?
Maria Charavino, 388 Aldridge Road. Good evening, members of the council. The numbers tell a story that we can't ignore. From January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2024, along just a 2-mile stretch of Aldridge Road between Windler Road and Route 9, there were 205 vehicle accidents, including 68 with injuries and 1 fatality. That's 2.85 accidents per month. These are not statistics in a file. They are people in our community whose lives were changed in an instant. Howell today is not the Howell of the 1960s, when many of these speed limits were first set. Back then, there were about 11,000 residents. Today, there are nearly 54,000. That means 5 times the homes, 5 times the cars, 5 times the chance for tragedy. What once felt reasonable no longer reflects the reality of who we are now. I know this not just as a teacher at Matawan Regional High School, but as a neighbor living with daily risks. I lost my own dog to a car that came too fast down my street. I have been passed illegally over a double yellow line while driving the limit when school buses were present, as though safety were an inconvenience. I can't even pull into my own driveway without being honked at or tailgated. These are the daily indignities and dangers of a speed limit that puts drivers' impatience ahead of residents' lives. And my students feel it too. They've come before you and driven 45 minutes to be here, eager to share the truth uncovered in their research. They are young, but they understand streets are where children should be able to ride bikes, where families should be able to walk, where pets should be able to wander without the constant threat of speeding cars. 40 miles per hour might sound small when written on a sign, but when a child runs after a ball, or a dog slips its leash, or a driver misjudges a turn, 40 is the difference between life and death. I'm asking you to act now before another family suffers the kind of loss that can never be undone. Lower the speed limit. Protect our neighborhoods. Put people before speed. This decision is in your hands. You have the power to choose safety over convenience and to put lives above minutes. Our community is depending on you to make the choice that puts family first. Thank you.
Tony or Augusta, who's coming up first?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Augusto Palermo. I'm 80 years old and have lived on Aldridge Road for the last 3 years. I want to tell you what it's like to live in my driveway. Cars come by too fast, 40 miles an hour or more. That by the time I look both ways, another car is right on top of me. It's frightening just to live in my home. This is a neighborhood road lined with homes, family, driveways, and school buses. New Jersey law says that normal speed for a residential street is 25 miles per hour, but ours is posted at 40. That's 15 miles over what's meant to keep people safe. Lowering the speed to what is required by law can save lives, maybe even mine. I'm asking you, please, lower Aldrich Road to 25 miles per hour, not for convenience, but so people like me and families with kids can feel safe in front of our own homes. Thank you very much.
Tony?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Tony Cheravino, and I stand before you tonight as a resident and a deeply concerned neighbor. I'm respectfully and firmly asking this council to reduce the speed limit on Aldridge Road between Windler and Route 9 from 40 to 25. It's not a matter of convenience, but it's a matter of safety, quality of life, and compliance with both state law and national traffic safety standards. The New Jersey statutes, Title 39, Section 39-4-98, default speed limit in a business and residential district is 25 miles per hour, unless a valid and recent engineering study shows otherwise. Aldridge Road has not had one in a very long time. Aldridge Road is clearly a residential corridor and a densely populated one, with driveways, pedestrians, school buses, and cyclists present daily. Yet it's posted at 40 miles an hour, 15 miles above the statutory default. New Jersey Administrative Code 1640-3.1 further requires municipalities to set limits based on roadway character, land use, pedestrian activity, and safety conditions. In other words, when a road passes through a residential area, 25 miles per hour is the expected standard, not the exception. Federal Highway Administration and National Highway Traffic Safety Administration both confirm that the speed is the single most critical factor in the likelihood of severity of crashes. The NHTSA data says a pedestrian struck at 40 miles per hour has a 90% chance of being killed. At 25 miles per hour, that risk drops to just 10 to 15%. The FHWA's Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices states that limits should reflect land use, pedestrian presence in residential areas. 25 miles per hour is a nationally recognized safe threshold. The U.S. Department of Transportation's safe system approach is clear. Where vehicles and vulnerable road users mix, speed limits should be reduced to 20 to 25 miles per hour to reduce fatal and serious injury risk. The science and federal policy both align with New Jersey law. 25 miles per hour is the ceiling for safe operation in a residential corridor like Aldridge Road. So many other townships in New Jersey follow this guidance, but Howell Township has not acknowledged or complied with it. On Aldridge Road, residents live with the reality of chronic speeding. 40 miles per hour becomes 45, then becomes 50, and then becomes 60 on a regular daily basis. Tailgating, aggressive driving, honking when you're trying to pull into your driveway. Serious near misses with pedestrians, cyclists, children getting nearly hit as they're going to their buses in the morning and in the afternoon. Noise, vibration, and constant danger erode our quality of life. I'm sure nobody here enjoys anybody having a car speed by their house. Anybody in this room. Another factor is the township growth and development pressure. Aldridge Road is a completely residential and densely populated area. It was never designed to handle today's traffic volumes of Howell. What was once a much less traveled neighborhood road has become a cut-through for commuters, delivery trucks, and service vehicles. Every new development adds more driveways, more conflict with each homeowner that's coming out of their home, every pedestrian. Families are backing out, school buses are making frequent stops. Over 8,500 vehicles a day are passing by that stretch of road. 8,500 vehicles. It's not about slowing drivers down unnecessarily. It's about adopting a state and federal guidance due to the reality of today's traffic and protecting the residents who live and walk and bike and drive there every day. I've already contacted council members via email. I've emailed the police chief, and I've emailed the traffic safety department. Multiple times, I have not received any responses or any action. The time for inaction has now passed. Reducing Aldridge Road from 40 to 25 will bring our township into compliance with the state law and federal standards. It will reduce the risk of pedestrian death by 80% and restore a sense of safety and peace for the families along that road. Council member, it's an easy decision, life-saving consequences, and I ask you to be proactive rather than reactive. Please lower the limit before tragedy forces us to revisit this with more painful circumstances. Thank you very much for your time and your commitment to keeping Howell safe.
Sheila?
Good evening, council, mayor. My name is Sheila Hatami. My family owns several rental properties in town, and my parents have resided on Yellow Brick Road since 1974. As most of you know, my father is a retired landscaper who ran his business out of his home and in the off-season kept his workers busy by rehabilitating distressed properties as an investment. Now an elderly man, rent is his main source of income. Years ago, a rental property could be held in your own name. Now, any attorney will tell you to put the deed of an investment property into an LLC. That is why the state law known as the Landlord Identity Law, NJSA 46:8-28, requires landlords to file an identity statement every year with every municipality. Ordinance 025-39 proposed tonight is just a restatement of this state law, but it charges landlords another $50 and allows the town to serve summonses that come with a $1,000 fine for not filing just another piece of paper. This ordinance won't improve the quality of life for residents in neighborhoods with abusive investors who are packing single-family homes full of people. This is just another facet of bureaucracy. So only those people with deep pockets and lots of rental properties, the ones which residents are urging you to target, will be the only ones able to be landlords in this town. Any LLC managing or owning a rental property is required to be listed on the registration paperwork under state law. This proposed ordinance admits that Howell isn't even looking at the landlord registrations to see who to contact or where to send a summons. This ordinance will not change the indifference and is just another tax on those landlords who follow the rules. I urge you to vote no. What you have now in Howell are inexperienced inspectors charged with the task of trying to obtain compliance by wielding the big stick of litigation and fines and submitting cases that don't meet the required legal standards. Is this what the council views as good expenditure of time, energy, and resources? I think it's ineffective and I think it's unfair. What needs to change is documentation, enforcement, and transparency. What I have proposed and what Ms. Vargas has brought to the table is a scaffolded approach to enforcement with methods by which to reward those investors who have the town's goals in mind and increase the penalties for those who deliberately thumb their nose at occupancy limits. The imposition of fines, fees, additional inspections, and so on is that only those owners, most often investors with lots of properties, have the financial deep pockets to manage those costs as the price of doing business. The ordinances that are on the books may now be modeled after Trenton's, but we aren't Trenton. What Howell needs is its own ordinances tailored to its neighborhoods that rewards those folks who do the right thing by their neighbors and penalizes those who greedily seek to destroy neighborhoods with the goal of obtaining more investment properties and thereby more rental income. People who can't buy homes need an affordable place to live, and Howell has historically been a place to find quality rental housing. Ordinance O-2539 just papers the problem. I urge the council to vote no, and I urge the council to yet again work with those of us who are excited about participating in the process to come up with procedures and ordinances that will work to fix the problems residents so desperately want to see an end to. Thank you.
Interdeep, sure.
Inderdeep Kaur, 3 Reuben Court. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and members of the community. On behalf of the residents of Reuben Court, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for everything you have done for our block. These past few months, we faced a very difficult situation with the illegal and unlicensed facility that was established at 4 Reuben Court. It put our entire neighborhood in a position no resident should ever have to face. Thanks to your vigilance, leadership, and teamwork, especially Mayor Leggio and the council team, this issue was addressed heads-on. You guys worked with the DCA, listened to our voices at meeting, reviewed the data we shared, and took decisive action. The illegal facility was removed and ordinance was passed to ensure stronger protection in the future. For that, we are truly grateful. At the same time, we feel it is important to look ahead. The property at 4 Reuben Court was the site of an illegal establishment, and we as residents believe that the owner must be made fully aware that this kind of action is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. We respectfully ask that the council consider taking legal action to formally inform the owner that illegal facility cannot simply be placed in our neighborhoods until we know that the owner has been held accountable and understands the seriousness of what happened. The residents of Reuben Court will be on pins and needles, worried that the same problem could happen again. Having that clarity will give our block peace of mind and help us move forward with confidence. Once again, thank you, Mayor Leggio, and thank you to the entire team, thank you to the township team for standing with us, protecting our neighborhood, and showing us that when residents and local government work together, real solutions are possible. Thank you.
Mark Pilecki.
Good evening, everyone. Mark Pilecki, 35 Oriole Lane, Howell. I've been associated with this town for over 45 years, and I've been looking at a few things. One that's bringing my attention here of concern is Howell Township Code 168, which is hazardous materials. There's a code 168-8, which establishes a fee schedule for anybody that has a business that has hazardous materials, and they get anywhere from $100 to $1,000 yearly they have to pay in order to, depending on the size of their business, to the township. Now, over the years, this fund, which is a hazardous materials fund, which is supposed to be used for training, education, enforcement, and equipment, has been used in quite some time. There was one fire company that took care of all the hazardous materials or hazardous incidents throughout the township that has been disbanded. And I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but we're still collecting this money from people. In that 168, there's 168-23 and 168-24 that provides for reimbursement of people that commit an act of hazardous waste or whatever, spilling, discharging. They have to provide reimbursement to the town or whatever agency that cleans this mess up. We don't have that anymore. We're not self-sufficient anymore in this town. A lot of things have happened in this town. And then finally, 168-27 says that this fund's going to be used for this equipment, education, enforcement, and training. Haven't seen anything. I've been keeping an eye on this town for a long time. Most of you guys know who I am. And I've been a volunteer for a long time in this town. Why are we charging businesses when we don't have a hazardous materials team anymore, when there is reimbursement under that 168, 22, or 24, somewhere in that area, where we can get reimbursed? And my most important thing, where's all this money? We're not using it for education. We're not using it for enforcement. We're not using it for equipment. We better not be buying gloves and saying that's hazardous material stuff. We need gloves for this, because that's PPE. That's different from hazardous materials, and it's expressly, I believe, delineated in that 168-27 paragraph in there. But I'm a little concerned where this money went, because I think it's a lot of money, and if we're just using it for surplus, or if we're using it for something other than hazardous materials, the business people that are paying this yearly fee are getting scammed. Thank you for your time.
Jim Barton?
Good evening, Jim Barton, 11 Diamond Lane. Our neighborhood has been rallying homeowners in order to educate on what's been happening in Howell, as well as our development. As many are still not aware with all the rentals in our neighborhood. And so we've been on a mission to go out and to communicate with the neighborhood, and we've been having meetings every couple weeks. And we've been reaching a lot of the neighborhood, and we're getting a lot of concerns from the various neighbors there. So our development represents over 100 homes, so that's a couple hundred voters. And like I said, we met a few times, and we wanted to discuss and alleviate fears which driving people to sell their houses. Since the last council meeting, which was August 12th, 6 more homeowners decided to list their homes, which makes 7. There was only 1 listed. We don't get many more than that. 4 of them surround 1 rental. Everybody went in a domino effect and wanted to sell their homes. 2 others surround another rental on both sides of them. The typical reason is I don't know who's living next door to me. I have little kids, and I keep seeing different people come through. Other homeowners are concerned that the house being sold will now become rentals, and their kids need to wait on the corner to wait for the bus. And now they're kind of nervous, should I be leaving my kids up in the corner if we're going to have a whole bunch of rentals up there. So our aim through these biweekly meetings is really quell the fear that's causing people to run, and I think people are making the decision through fear, and fear is never a good decision maker. So there's several issues that we've been discussing as a community that I just wanted to raise for discussion. Maybe I have a question at the end. What we notice is there seems to be unlicensed realtors marketing properties. We've been in discussions with the New Jersey Real Estate Commission, and we got an audience with them and have a process for filing complaints. But there are several on Facebook, including people subletting rooms, giving video tours of small rooms for rent for $800, $900. They give their name, they have their number on there. There's code signals for renting rooms. There's a popular house in our neighborhood always has a screen door open. We know that means the house has a room for rent. Some of these practices seem to be discriminatory because you can only find them on certain websites. The house across the street from me has been up for rent for over 2 months, has not rented, has been vacant, and we see people come in the dark in order to check out the house. Tonight, before coming over here, I got alerted from my daughter, who's a concerned girl, teen, who sees people going in and out of this house, checking it out, as well as one of our neighbors who are here. And so I ran out to talk to them, and I asked them how, and they didn't speak any English, but I was able to get where they found this house for rent. And it was on a Facebook website, Rentas de Casa. Well, that's not a place my son would look for. He rents in Howell at another house, and he said, hey, if that house across the street was up for rent, I might rent that house. But he doesn't see it. So this seems to be discriminatory in terms of where they're listing it, because if you Google it, you don't find the house. It's very specific locations. So I just want to know if the township would investigate this. Like I said, we're working through the Real Estate Commission, so we'll see where that goes. But just from a general concern, it's throughout the township, not just in our development. The other one, in terms of rental registration process, so I had a comment here, and then based on what the lady said with her father renting properties, this is not meant to penalize people who are renting for income, who are residents of Howell and have multifamily rentals. But an idea came up, and this is done in Indiana, where they actually assess a rental fee, not just for people who don't live in the home. If you live in a home, you don't pay the fee, but there's like a non-homeowner occupied rental fee, and it might be per person that's rented. There might be something. The reason why that came up is because, like I said, a house across the street from me has been rented over 2 months, and they've already dropped the price down. And I approached the property management person when they were there and asked them about that, and they said they couldn't rent it. It's too expensive, so they keep dropping the price. So financially, way to penalize in order to deter rentals might be through some additional financial means. So just an idea. I don't know how a council feel about that. Also, I was told last night that at a meeting that cars parked on the street associated with rental properties need to be registered, part of the permit process. I'm just curious, is that true? Does cars have to be permitted? Because there are a lot more cars on the parked on the streets. A lot of complaints about that, and then we heard about the speed limit issue. A lot more cars coming down Aldrich Road now. So those two kind of coexist as an issue. Previously, the township said they couldn't verify who was renting houses, but according to the Landlord Identity Registration Act, you can actually verify that the people living in the house are on the permit. So I want to hear about that one as well.
Maria? I think she stepped out. All right, so does anyone else from the public like to say something? Hold on, Mr. White. Go ahead.
Good evening. Avi Schnell, 16 Meadow Lane, Lakewood, New Jersey. So why am I here? I have the distinct privilege of representing Howell Township in the New Jersey State Legislature. I am the assemblyman for the 30th District, and although I do not live physically in Howell, the challenges and the needs of Howell residents is very near and personal to me. Therefore, I occasionally read the agenda items, and I saw tonight that there are 2 ordinances that are up for a hearing. 02539 and 35. And I felt it was important for me to show up tonight to personally applaud, commend, and encourage the council to adopt these ordinances. These ordinances are about public safety, are about public welfare. It's about preserving the quality of life that Howell is proud of. However, that's the applaud and that's the thank you. The encouragement is that this should be the beginning of more. As we've heard tonight, rentals, abused rentals is becoming a growing problem in Howell. This issue is not exclusive to Howell. We have these issues throughout the state. We have these issues in the town that I come from. We have these issues throughout the 30th district. But a council that is dedicated to address the issue, that is not universal. Unfortunately, in some towns, it goes unmitigated, it goes unwatched. And I'm happy to see that in Howell, that's not the case. And there's a very tricky, fine balance of making laws. Anyone can introduce a law, but will that law stand in court? Will that law do its purpose? Will it fulfill the ideal? So there's a balancing act that the council is taking. And I thank you for that. There are many, many residents from Howell that have reached out to my office about this issue over the last 2 years. So I, again, commend you, I thank you, and I encourage you to continue to work together to do more, to do whatever we can to prevent this problem from spreading more than it already has. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Larry White.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and Township professionals. Larry White, 15 Renway. Just a point of information, Mr. Mayor. On Resolution R25262, increasing the Howell Township Council members' annual salary, there's been a typo. If you look down at the bottom of the resolution, you'll see that the former mayor's name is at the bottom of the list. Now, I'm sure if former Mayor Berger got your check, she'd certainly sign it over to you. But let's not make this kind of inconvenience and change the name to John Leshew on the resolution. Thank you.
I will make that change. Thank you.
Mark, can you please let Maria come up real quick? Yes, please. The one I had called and she had stepped out for a second. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marie Calderon. Sorry, I'm not prepared for tonight. I just happened to pass by. I did notice that you have an intro to redevelopment from Strickland to West Forums. And I had a lot of questions, and I don't know where I can find out about it, because we're currently fighting something, and they mentioned the redevelopment, and I happened to see a neighbor sent me this. I'd like to know, as far as the redevelopment goes, for gas stations, they're getting carried away with gas stations, and I noticed tonight was cancer awareness for children. If you're trying to protect children in Howell Township, you can't put a gas station right behind homes and keep lowering the percentage. The average is 500 to 1,000 feet for carcinogens, but I'm not here for that, but it happened that today was that. I want to know, what are you giving as incentives for this redevelopment? Because Quick Check seems to be building a lot, and they have not, in our instance, I won't name, have not proven the safety for the traffic at all. on record, they have not proven it. They have not proven protection for the noise, and they can't figure out a way to figure out safety for Strickland Road. So before you have another Aldridge Road, you need to, I don't know, I'm asking the board to look into it, but you're opening yourself up to a lot of liability if they pass these gas stations and allow them to go through, whether you have toured, and the main thing is if you allow something to go through without proving the safety of it, especially traffic and noise, to go through, you're opening yourself to a lot of, Howell Township in general, to a lot of liability. But anyway, the main question is, I'd like to know what incentives they're giving, especially to gas stations. We're not opposed to a Chick-fil-A or something like that, but they're getting carried away with gas stations. They just put a 7-Eleven there, which we can't complain. They were there before I moved in 40-something years ago. But now they're proposing to put another one right across. That's a lot, especially where children are going to live right behind. So I'm asking if you look into this and the legality of a lot of it. I am doing that research. I just happened to go out for milk and decided to come over here. But I come from a long line of lawyers in my family, and I have never heard of boards passing things where they can't even prove the safety of traffic. So before you have instances where you're going to be sued, I would look and make sure you're not putting unnecessary gas stations. You know, there's property that's a little bit past Strickland Road, tons of property, Way Cardinal. Why not use them where they have an in and out, where no buses go through, where you don't have a combination, because we're in between Freehold Township and Howell. So you have their buses, our buses, which go from 6 in the morning to at night. Now, we've already had deaths. I have all my information at home. We have crosses, numerous, right on Strickland Road. And it's been sustainable with the 7-Eleven. It's been not as bad. But you're opening a can of, now, if you go there and you know the property across from Woolies Fish Market, how are you getting gasoline trucks to go around? And now with the property being built on Wyckoff Road there as part of your redevelopment, now I understand redevelopment, but I'm here 40 years. That one gas station, which you're not redeveloping, but yet allowing the property next to it to be built, no talk of that. That's been vacant for at least 15 years. So I have a lot of questions. I just maybe if you can tell me where I can find out what incentives are given and what is there has to be something on allowing too many gas stations. It's getting ridiculous in Howell. I'm not opposed to building. It has to be built. I understand you own the property, but anyway, I wasn't prepared to come tonight, but I do have a lot of questions, and I'm having a hard time going from this department to that department. All of this could be looked up. I'd like to know a response as to what incentives, and do you have any direction as where you're putting all these gas stations and why? Why in somewhere where you have so many buses and children? And besides that, you have a commuter station which is there, which you just made really nice. It's right by the Starbucks, if anybody knows the 7-Eleven by Woolies, right there. It's one of the most busiest bus stops.
Thank you, Maria. Your time has ended.
Okay,
Thank you.
people here take. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mark Parisi, 2 Castle Court. To the lady who just spoke, Maria, I'd be happy to talk to you after the meeting. I believe the quick check application was had a hearing before the zoning board last night, and I think a lot of your questions and concerns should probably be addressed to the zoning board that's hearing that application. I believe it was carried to October 27th, so perhaps after the meeting we can have a brief discussion. There's a couple things. I wanted to just echo a couple of things that were said. Sheila, Tommy, you had, a dear friend of mine, you had some great comments tonight. I do want to recognize the interim manager, John Gross, and the attorney Megan Bennett. I had reached out to you after our previous meeting, and we set up a meeting to talk about Valerie Vargas's proposed rooming house ordinance. As many of you know, I'm one of the people that's behind the Howell, New Jersey First organization and Facebook page, and when we put up Valerie's video of her proposed ordinance, it went viral, one could say, for our Facebook page. I mean, we had over close to 150,000 views. It was shared like almost 200 times, maybe more. I know from speaking with Valerie that she's been contacted almost on a weekly basis from people all over the state. So it suggests to me that people have seen her proposal and that they believe that there's some merit to it. And I appreciate Mr. Gross taking the time to meet with Sheila and Valerie and I on Friday to discuss it. I just want the public to know that we are going to continue to try to see if we can get either that ordinance introduced or a variation of it. We want to discuss the merits of it and make sure that, that it's, there aren't any particular legal issues with it. But I hope that in the future that we can continue to have conversation and see where we can get to. With that, as I said to Mr. Gross, I know that perhaps there's some other aspects of that ordinance that are kind of baked into other existing ordinances, but to maybe put something into one comprehensive ordinance that addresses everything in one ordinance would be a good thing to look at. I would be remiss, I'm going to totally change gears here for a second, but seeing that young, courageous survivor come up here at the beginning of the meeting, Riley, reminds me of something that happened about 8 or 9 years ago that's very personal to me. When my wife and we moved to this town in 2014, my stepdaughter, Nicole, befriended a young lady girl named Nanisha Rivera. These are middle school students. Nanisha ended up getting sick and was diagnosed with pleuropulmonary blastoma, incredibly rare pediatric lung cancer. We had charity benefits for her. The Francis Foundation, that's having a big, having a dine and donate thing tonight over at the Texas Roadhouse. They came in and helped the family. That little girl fought like you can't believe, and we lost her when she was 16 years old. It was devastating for my stepdaughter and for the family. The family ended up moving down to Florida. We still keep in touch, and I tell Nanisha's mother that I will always, when given an opportunity, I'll always remember her and say her name. So, it's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and I just felt that it was important for me to remind everybody about that young, courageous woman. I want to thank everyone for your time, and I hope that you have a good rest of your meeting.
Anyone else from the public? Going once, please. I'm not seeing anyone else. I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Motion to close public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, responses to public comments from our attorney and manager, please.
Yeah, in reference to the code, the part-time code, we have not set a number. We are advertising, and you go onto our website to apply, and we are, don't expect to get a big response, but whatever response we get, we will certainly be looking to hire multiple people. So.
Probably the remainder, most of this is going to me now. Obviously.
Just a button.
Can you hear me now? Okay. There were numerous residents that talked about obviously reducing the speed at Aldrich Road. The council could have a traffic study done that would provide the basis for taking that action. I'm assuming that Aldrich Road is a township road, not a county road, correct?
Correct.
It's a township road, so it is under your purview. In connection with Sheila, I'm sorry if I get your last name, Hatami, I obviously disagree in connection with the ordinance that I've already put on for today that's on for adoption. That ordinance is not meant to hurt individual landlords. The ordinance is provided to give more information and identification in connection with management companies. Prior to this ordinance being adopted, without this ordinance being adopted, these management companies did not need to give their licenses. There was no representative that gave a license. So if there was an issue, or if there's continual issues, and the management company did not show up to court, the judge could not issue a failure to appear, because they don't have a person, and they could not issue a warrant for their arrest. With the adoption of this ordinance, that will be in place. Now, I would also like to address, I guess, Mr. Parisi and Sheila in connection with the Vargas ordinance, and I appreciate all the hard work that was put into it, but I did review it, and in connection with the majority of it, it is unconstitutional. And again, as I said at the previous last few meetings, 3 meetings, I'm not going to proffer something that's unconstitutional that I cannot defend in court. And I will go through the ordinance for you. The proposal primarily focuses on familiar relationships and regulating occupancy on familiar relationships. That cannot happen. That is clearly against the law. It's unconstitutional. The proposal offered case law as a foundation for its legality. However, review of the case law cited in the proposal does not stand for the proposition cited. The Thompson case was about a private action regarding a lease, not whether a municipality could prohibit subleasing. State versus Baker did not uphold that a municipality had the right to define family. In fact, it found just the opposite. The Berger case cited in the proposal has been superseded by statute. Village of Belle Terre from 1974 was modified by Moore v. Cleveland, Ohio, and cannot be used to place limitations on who live in a single-family home. I believe I said this last time. Single-family home is a misnomer. We are regulating by occupancy. We cannot regulate if people are actually familiar related. There was attention in the proposal on instituting more aggressive occupancy limits. However, it's best practice to have a rental occupancy limit track the state requirements. Municipalities have attempted to be more aggressive than state code and have lost their efforts in court for doing so. Seeing that you are an attorney, I'll give you a case law. United Prop Owners Association of Belmar versus Borough of Belmar, 343 New Jersey Super 1, Aptiv 2001. It should be noted that the township has passed 7 ordinances in the past 5 years addressing rental concerns, 3 in the past month alone. This should highlight the seriousness with which the township takes rental matters. Howell's trying to find whatever legal methods it can to address its residents' concerns with rentals. Emphasis on legal. It is not advisable to pass ordinances that are not narrowly tailored to addressing rental concerns. The proposal goes too far on a number of fronts, making it unlikely to pass constitutional muster. I will continue to work with you. I absolutely will. But I will not proffer an unconstitutional ordinance. Let's go through more. 4 Ribbon Court. 4 Ribbon Court will be subject to all of our ordinances, and we will review them. You are correct. We worked with the DCA. We got that sober living house was found to not have licensure, and we had it closed. And I'm assuming that it has been fined. The owner of that property still owns that property and has the right to rent that property. But he or she or what management company owns that property cannot do so in violation of our ordinances or state law, and we will make sure that that does not happen. I believe it was Mark Pilecki. I'm sorry if I'm getting these names wrong. I'm trying to learn them all. I don't have reference to this. I have not looked at the schedule for hazard materials, nor have I looked at where the money is going in connection with that, but I certainly will look into it. The vacant house. I'm not sure who spoke with regard to the vacant house. If you could raise your hand. That was you? Okay. So what you are describing in connection with that vacant house, many of the things that you have said are in violation of both the code, Howell's code, and state violation. It should not be happening. So if that's happening, I'm hoping that you're calling the code enforcement office or you're calling the police department. It should be regulated. Almost everything you said was in violation. So you did mention something with regard to, can we verify who should be living in the house? Yes, this is what is already in our code. If a homeowner rents his or her home, or if a management company rents a home, they have to have a document that provides for a lease. That lease needs to list the occupancy, who is actually leasing the property. If that does not match, they're in violation, and the code enforcement will take action. I don't have any background with regard to development and gas stations. That's not within my purview. But I think was there a legal question that I did not answer? If so, you can answer, put your hand up. That's the one I do not know, ma'am. Maria, your name is? I don't know anything with regard to that redevelopment and gas stations. So the marketing of these, the marketing in itself, I cannot control. But we can control in Howell the actual leasehold interest. Again, registering the leases, making sure that the people that are on the lease are actually the people that are inhabiting the house. That is how we control it. We can't control what's on social media, what's going on Facebook, or stopping that type of it may lead us to investigation because it will give us a reasonable idea that there's something potentially going on in a particular house, but we can't stop the marketing.
Is there room for discriminatory marketing outside of, do you know of one? Is there an avenue for?
I do not, and I didn't mean to make this like a back and forth. I just wanted to make sure I was answering all the legal questions, sir. The marketing, I mean, it's almost impossible to go on the media and regulate marketing. We just simply can't. It's not, their marketing in and of itself is not the problem. The problem is when they're entering into unlawful leases, when they're leasing to multiple people, and that it's changing over and we don't have that on record. That's what these types of ordinances are here to prevent. And it's really about code enforcement. I have looked at these ordinances, and Assemblyman, I thank you for your thoughts on this. Howell has good ordinances. What we need is enforcement. Again, another low-hanging fruit was just the nuisance ordinance for noise. We only had a decibel reading, the state reading. Now with this ordinance, we will be able to have the police will have the discretion, and it's pretty easy to know whether or not a home is losing its quiet enjoyment of living by, if you can hear a party in your house, the cops can hear a party in the house, they'll be able now to move, they'll be able to regulate, they'll be able to fine. They weren't able to do that because they didn't have the discretion. Now they do.
I was talking about the Vargas ordinance, which is what you were talking about. If you want, we are not allowed to have a dialogue, as you understand, because you are an attorney. You can call me at any point in time, and we can discuss it. I have issues with that ordinance as well. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, anyone from the dais would like to answer some questions? Sue?
Yes, I think Marie, who asked what was going up by the Woolies, that is going to be a medical building, RWJ Barnabas. Oh, I thought you were wondering what was going up by Woolies. Oh, okay, okay. We've also asked if we can investigate the discriminating rental ads. I know it's quasi impossible.
It's impossible. What we can do is those ads can lead us to the problem.
And the other thing I wanted to refer to, so as far as the traffic studies on Aldridge Road.
Yes.
They've been done. And I'm right, I'm pretty sure they've been done.
What they were done?
And the police department has
The last 2 years?
explained and responded, but I mean, I get it, because I'm on Friendship Road. We have the same.
I'm sorry, I did not know that they've already been done.
The traffic study on Aldridge Road has been done. A long time, I guess a while ago.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not sure when the years when they were done, so
Yes.
is that something,
There's-
Mr. Gross, that's something you could
There's-
get?
There are different types of studies. The type that Ms. Bennett is talking about is a more extensive study that where you would hire an engineering firm to actually go out and they.
That is correct.
Right, that's what the
They sit there,
resident
they
asked.
count the cars, they do value recording, whereas the police department has electronic equipment that basically does counts and speed. That type, it's not.
Right, so my
it's
question
not
is,
as-
can
it's
we
not
do
as
that?
detailed. Much more expensive to go with a professional study from an engineer. That's just a obstacle, not a problem. It's just something you obviously have to fund it. But in terms of that, certainly, I made some notes. I would like us to at least see what data we already have, and then we can talk further about it.
Okay, thank you.
Carol?
You want reports as well? Because I don't want to respond to any of the questions.
Okay, so that's it. Mr. Rebel?
I'm good.
Ian? Nothing?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I did want to just make a comment that in terms of the 9/11 ceremony that we had last week at the old Preventorium, it was very solemn. It was a very nice remembrance, if you will. Fire department comes out, the Howell PD, as always, had a presence there. I invite everybody to come next year, September 11th, obviously. We never seem to have the attendance that evening that I think that the actual occasion should warrant in reverence. We did have 5 Howell Township residents that lost their lives in that particular assault on American soil, along with thousands and thousands of people that have died that day and died since then from illnesses. So the tragedy continues. Secondly, I would like to let everyone recall that this Saturday is Howell Day and Green Fair Day. Again, will be held at the Soldier Memorial Park at 3 o'clock. We hope that Howell Township residents, along with other residents in Monmouth County, as they usually do, come out and enjoy the day, the entertainment, the fireworks, the music, the vendors, the food. It is typically a very, very well-attended event. A lot of time and work goes into it, and being held at Soldier Memorial, I think parking is much more convenient for people. It's a lovely park, so please, 3 o'clock Saturday, mark your calendars to partake of the Howell Township Day and the Howell Green Fair Day as well. So I hope to see you there Saturday at 3.
I'll just touch up a few things. Our professionals answered most of the questions to their ability right now. and I appreciate you following up with whoever else needs to be followed up with. Mr. Chicatano, Mark, those positions for code enforcement, we would like to see, people apply with experience or former police experience. Those are the individuals we like to hire, former police officers that may be retired, looking for a part-time job, or current code enforcement experience. Mrs. Paula, over on Sammy Drive, I'll have our DPW and police department look into possibly putting up some more speed limit signs and maybe some children at play signs, okay? Throughout Sammy. Sammy's a long stretch of road over there. I'm sure our manager has no problem with us looking into that. Okay, that's easy. Not to really go after a resident, but I think Tony and his family left. He came up here and he said nothing's been done or nothing, emails weren't returned. I can tell you that emails were returned, and Ian and I personally went to his home and spent about a half hour there on the property, watching the cars coming by, addressing his concerns. So I didn't appreciate him coming up here misleading the public that we have not done anything about it. We are doing what mayor and council possibly do, and that's listen, and then it gets pushed over to our professionals, okay? So that's all, I was a little annoyed about that. Sheila, have fun dealing with Mrs. Bennett. I hope you guys can come to some kind of understanding. As far as Interdeep and the rest of the residents on Reuben, thank you for bringing the situation to our attention, and we are sorry that it took the little bit of time it took, but certain rules and regulations were not followed, and possibly that wouldn't have not ended the way it did if you didn't do your due diligence in conjunction with the township's due diligence, okay? So we're happy that that's been resolved. Mr. Pilecki, manager, has responded to you, sir, as far as the hazardous materials division and what we're doing and not doing, and hopefully maybe that, I'm assuming that's OEM, right, Mr. Gross, right? Maybe that'll move forward with that. We could get that division back up in conjunction with Southern Firehouse. Mr. Barden, the code enforcement officials and the way we do things here, they are well aware of this, the Facebook pages and the way the practices are done on how to attract certain families to come rent. I agree with you, sir. I think it's discriminatory that it doesn't go out on the multiple listing groups, and it's done the way it's done. But you got to understand it's being done that way because it's a cash cow for the landlord, for the LLC, and they know very well that a single family is not going to be able to pay $4,500, $5,000, $5,500 for a 4-bedroom house in Candlewood or on Sammy Drive or wherever else in town. It's going on. So they have to fill it up with 15 to 20 people to accomplish that rent. So and that's why you're seeing the drop in prices now, because obviously people are probably waking up and saying we can't afford this and it's not worth it. So, and then with the ordinances, with the occupancy rules, we are going to move forward and instead of just giving warnings, obviously giving tickets, and they could have a happy day in court if they want to just keep playing games with our township officials and our residents that pay taxes and live on these blocks and feel that they are not being heard and their quality of life issues are deteriorating. I am with you 100%. This council's with you 100%, and we are working weekly to get this stuff done, folks. Okay, it's just not something we could. To Assemblyman, Mr. Schnell, I appreciate you coming here today, sir. He said a few things that's, actions are louder than words, You had some comments about us doing what we're doing, and you appreciate what we're doing. Okay, your hometown, surrounding towns around Lakewood, all dealing with the same issues. So maybe some individuals in your community the upper guys that run the show, behind the scenes, the rabbis, that's the correct word, sir. You know, I appreciate them also making comments on some social media pages saying that the landlords should follow the town's rules and respect their neighbors and, you know, don't occupy their homes, and we all need to live together and all that good stuff. And it sounds great, but actions are louder than words, right? So I know we can't control the people that are buying the houses and if they become rentals and all that. I know you're a busy man, and I thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate you, sir. I mean that, okay? Larry White, thank you. I didn't want Teresa to get any of my money that's coming to me, all right? Maria, that's a zoning board thing. You know, the application was heard last night a little bit, but now it's carried, so maybe Mr. Gross could contact you with someone in the department that'll explain to you what that application is all about. If it's a permitted use, if it's something that can be put on Route 9, that's allowed, and they're gonna follow all the rules, you know, then it's, you know, that's gonna go through zoning. There's gonna be a traffic study done, you know.
Mayor, I'll be happy.
You'll deal with it here.
I'll be happy.
Contact Mr. Gross.
There's a whole process with getting an application like that through the zoning board. Same with the applications that come to the planning board. There's an entire process, so. And I'm confident that our zoning board officials,
Ma'am, we cannot talk. Public comment is done. Please contact Mr. Gross. Mr. Gross will be happy to answer your questions.
all right, and last but not least, the famous Mark Parisi, who takes a lot of time out of his schedule to attend a lot of meetings because he obviously cares about the town and he's concerned with the moving parts and what's going on here. You know, we appreciate you coming to the meetings. We encourage, you know, more residents to come to meetings, you know, and voice your concerns, and that's what we're here for, folks. I don't want you to be discouraged and think that we're not listening to you. We're listening to you. So let's move forward with now our consent agenda items. Does anyone wish to vote on consent agenda items separately?
Just one, yeah.
Just one? So it is. What's the number?
262, abstain.
Okay.
Well, that, you can vote as an entirety and just abstain when it comes to you.
Understood.
And Mayor, if I may, we have two additional late add-ons. Resolution 25-262B, resolution acknowledging the resignation of the Deputy Township Manager. Also, Resolution R-25-262C, resolution authorizing execution of memorandum of understanding with Howell Police Department Chief John Starro regarding employment contract.
What was that last one? 262B?
262C.
C. So resolutions R-25-244 through 262-C. May I have a motion to
Motion to approve.
approve?
Resolutions R-25-244 through and including R-25-262C.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
I'm a yes on R-25-244 through 262C and an abstain on 262.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Okay, the consent resolutions pass.
All right, on to resolution R-25-263.
Insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2025 budget of the Township of Howell, Chapter 159, National Opioid Settlement Funds.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve said resolution.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you, the resolution passes.
On to R-25-264.
Insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2025 budget of the Township of Howell, Chapter 159, Monmouth County Senior Services Grants.
I'll make a motion to accept
Second.
Resolution 25-264.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes.
On to unfinished business, public hearing, adoption of ordinances.
Ordinance 25-34, an ordinance amending the Howell Township Administrative Code to create Chapter 330, Public Events, for the regulation of special events and block parties. The public hearing on Ordinance 25-34 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment on this ordinance, please come up to the podium, give your name and address.
Seeing none, close public.
Make a motion to close public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a motion to adopt ordinance 25-34.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-35, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Howell, amending and supplementing Chapter 211 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell entitled Nuisance, as to create a new Article 3 entitled Noise as Nuisance. The public hearing on Ordinance 25-35 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment on this ordinance, please come forward.
Mark Parisi, I'll be quick. The last couple of meetings, there have been some residents that have spoken about noise-related issues and how they reach out to code enforcement, and there was no one in town that's a noise control officer to come out and take sound readings. I applaud you guys for moving forward with this ordinance. I would just please urge you to have somebody in code enforcement go out and take the class on how to read a sound meter and, get a couple people that are, light certified to take sound readings. So when there are noise complaints where you need a decibel meter to actually go out and measure the sound and issue a summons, that we have the ability to enforce that. All right?
Mark, we do have that. We do have people that have that training. The problem is that they weren't working on the weekends, and that's when the parties are. So that's why we have this nuisance. That's what most of these things. A lot of small towns don't have these decimal meters. This town does, which is
Okay.
great. So there's certain issues that noise would be decimal, and there's certain which is just obvious.
Right.
And this is
Plainly
why
audible standard.
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah.
why this ordinance needs to be done.
I recall at a previous meeting that there was somebody that got up there and said that they had made a complaint and code enforcement was not able to go out and take readings because they didn't have somebody that was...
On the weekend, yes, I remember that as well.
Okay, I didn't recall that it was specific to weekend. All right, thank you.
Well, Mr. Gross, maybe we just get with the code enforcement department, get everyone that's hired, current and new employees, get everyone trained on the decibel reading. I don't know if that's something that's, that way
We'll certainly look at that.
That's, you know what I mean? All right. Motion to close public?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll move to adopt ordinance 2535.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-36, ordinance amending Chapter 150, Fire Prevention, to include Chapter 150, Article 3, Certificate of Smoke Alarm, Carbon Monoxide Alarm, and Secondary Power Source Compliance, and amending Chapter 139, Fees. The public hearing on Ordinance 25-34 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment, please come up.
Seeing no one? Motion to close?
Motion to close public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2536.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-37, ordinance authorizing traffic enforcement upon real property located at 308 and 413 Fairfield Road in accordance with the request of the property owner. Public hearing on ordinance 0-25-37 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment, please come up.
Seeing no one? Close?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2537.
Second?
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-38, ordinance authorizing traffic enforcement upon real property located at Block 3, Lot 25.01, in accordance with the request of the property owner. Public hearing is now open if someone wants to come up.
Seeing no one? Motion to close?
Motion to close public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2538.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-39, an ordinance of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 138, Housing Code, Rental Properties of the Township Code of the Township of Howell, so as to create Article 1A, Mercantile Licenses. Public hearing on ordinance 25-39 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment, please come up.
Seeing none, motion to close?
I'll make a motion to close public?
Motion to adopt?
Up, I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2539.
Second?
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Next.
We'll continue with introduction of ordinances. 0-25-40, ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Howell adopting the Route 9 redevelopment plan pursuant to NJSA 40A:12A-7.
Motion to introduce ordinance 2540.
Second?
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. And we have another late add-on for ordinance 0-25-41, an ordinance amending Article 10 of the Township Code entitled Zones, creating a Section 188-84.6 entitled Moderate and Low Income Housing Mixed Use Overlay Zone 16, known as ML-16 Zone.
Have a motion, please?
Motion to introduce ordinance 2541.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
Our next regular scheduled council meeting will take place on October 7th, 2025. Executive session begins at 6 p.m. and the regular session will be at 7. Thank everyone for coming out tonight, being here with us. Please continue to come to the meetings, and please keep an eye out for your neighborhoods, and if you see something, say something. All right, that's the best way to deal with any ongoing issues. It's whether it's police related or code related or whatever the issue is. We need to stick together as a community, and we will address everything as needed. Adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.